Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, where you are in the world. Welcome to today's session. Long-awaited webinar where TestRail is introducing AI that truly understands testing with its latest version, TestRail 9.5. Let's jump straight into it. I'm João Crisóstomo, Product Marketing Manager. Been working at TestRail for the past 2 years. Super excited to be joining with you, and very grateful for everyone attending today. The start of the show, however, is my colleague Katrina Collins. She is a product manager here at TestRail, specializing in AI with a background in QA. She has experienced firsthand many of the challenges QA teams face every day. She has been the internal champion behind the feature we'll talk the most today, generating test cases with AI. And she can't wait to share more about it with you today. She'll be my partner in today's session. Welcome, Katrina.
Thank you, everyone. Nice to be here.
Here's what we'll cover today. We'll see why test case generation is a natural fit for AI in QA. We'll go through how enterprise-grade security and access controls keeps the data safe. We are going to see the feature and how to use the generate test cases with AI feature step by step. How to prompt for best results, how to stay in control by reviewing and selecting what's generated, and the real value of this feature, which is time saved, better coverage, and consistent quality. And then we'll reveal a little bit of what's coming next for AI in TestRail, and we'll get you actionable next steps to get started. Because you may not have been exposed to these names, brands, logos, I just want to bring your attention to these. So the brand Sembi was launched in January 2025, and Sembi is a standalone entity focused exclusively on software quality, to which TestRail is part of. And in June this year, Sembi launched its very own AI engine, which we call Sembi IQ, IQ standing for Intelligent Quality. And that engine is what is powering all of the AI capabilities that are now present in TestRail and will be in the future. So you just to be cognizant of this: Sembi brand, Sembi IQ, and TestRail. Couple of TLDRs, if you allow me. TestRail 9.5 is now available for all trials and professional enterprise plans. This is a cloud-only feature. So if you log in today, whether it's a trial or a paid license, you should be seeing this on your end, and we'll explain exactly how. We are in a phase called open beta, and we'll go through what that means exactly in a few bits. And it's the feature with 9.5 is free to use. It's included in the trials. It's included in your paid licenses, no extra costs. All right, so let's jump in and how this whole story and how this feature came about. How are AI plus test cases a natural match for QA, and what is the problem we're set to solve with this proposition? And with this, I pass the mic for you, Katrina. Take it away.
Thank you, João. Thank you for the introductions, and hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. I'm very excited to share what we've been working on with you today. And personally, as João mentioned, having started my career in a QA, I know firsthand just how much time goes into writing test cases. And when we spoke with other QA teams, it became very clear that this wasn't just from my experience, it is a challenge across the board. And so the problems that we set to solve is that what we found out is QA teams spend up to 70% of their time creating test cases and not actually testing and catching those bugs. What we've heard from our customers was that we need faster test case creation without losing quality. We want AIs to assist us, not to replace us. And security and compliance are non-negotiable. So this is the three pillars that we have identified throughout our research. And based on those three pillars, the mission that we set out to do is to build AI that work with testers as an assistant instead of them. Just a little bit more about our discovery session and how we got to it. So one of the things that I strongly believe in is building features the right way, iteratively, brick by brick. That's why generating test cases with AI is our first step forward towards creating more powerful AI flows. For me, it's not about building minimum viable features, but rather minimum lovable features. And this is the only way that is to do so, is by involving people who will be using them and as soon as possible in the process. That's why we set out to do research and analysis, internal and external. For example, from the very beginning, our internal QE team and the group of customers who kindly joined us on our closed beta have been helping us shaping this feature. Our QA team had a lot of fun along the way. They were testing, experimenting, doing LLM evals with us to help us to pick the right model for the job. That is why this solution is truly designed by QA for QA. And I think it shows how AI can also open up exciting and new opportunities for the testers today to learn how to test AI, to understand how LLM works, and how exciting it is to actually go and do an evals. So this was part of our journey, and I wanted to share it with you before I will start diving into other details, because it was one of our exciting learning curve from this experience. And now something else became very clear during our closed beta. Most teams told us they want a compliance-light AI solution, something that is easy to enable without compliance overhead, but still secure at its core. And during our beta, what we have discovered is that 90% increase in a test case creation has been reported by our closed beta group. We saw 80% adoption rate among the beta teams, and they have reported a significant increase in test coverage because they were able to brainstorm test coverage ideas with an AI, which was also very exciting learning curves that we took out of this exercise. With that, we have built exactly what you asked us to build, a compliance-light AI solution, but still secure at its core. Your data is not stored beyond processing, and it's never used to train LLM. The feature comes disabled by default on all instances, which gives you a time to evaluate our terms and conditions for AI and data policies. And then with this education in mind, you can decide whether to enable or disable it. But because it's very light from the compliance side, because data, as I already mentioned, is not shared for training, and it is not stored anywhere, and it never leaves TestRail systems. And you have also very granular access controls. So first, as I already mentioned, it's on instance level. You can choose to enable it, or you can choose to keep it disabled. The other granular access that we offer is a project level. This is what we've learned from our customers, that some projects have data that they won't feel comfortable with sharing with AI, but some projects don't have that data privacy in it, so that this granular access approach can enable you to have AI on some projects. Plus the user role level, you can actually choose which user roles should have an access to this feature and which ones do not.
All right. I think thank you for driving us here, Katrina. Hopefully that moved or explained a little bit of how he thought about this and how he came about this feature in the first place. Building with the teams, building with their insights and expertise, and build to amplify testing as opposed to just press a button, replace. That it's a more thoughtful and approach. And just to summarize what the mission and the philosophy around this new way and new outlook is, we set out to build an AI engine and integrate it into TestRail, that this was instructed by real QA teams with real testing expertise, and to inject human in the loop control that guides AI before execution, not after. Because what we've heard as well from teams is that AI without domain expertise is just going to be expensive and unproductive, autocomplete. So what you get today with this, as we roll out this feature, just to sum up what Katrina mentioned, is up to 90% faster test creation with enterprise-grade accuracy. The human in the loop at its core that has been praised by our closed beta testers. AI guided by testing expertise, not just generic text. Enterprise-ready security and compliance. And because it's within TestRail, it's within your existing workflows. You've built and you've customized TestRail to fit your current needs, and this feature will not disrupt. And it's totally up to you how you enable at the granular level that Katrina just mentioned. And the other thing is, for test case generation, it's working with text, steps, and BDD test cases. So maybe now we go into the live demo of the presentation. Hopefully everyone has been waiting, the moment everyone has been waiting for. And yeah, I'll cue the mic to you again, Katrina. Thank you.
So let's walk through the features step by step. And let's start with how you actually turn on generating test cases with AI. As already mentioned, by default, it is disabled. But as a TestRail admin, you can go ahead, read the terms and conditions and data policy, and decide to enable it at your instance level. And then the next settings that you will need to do is actually, before we go to the next settings, on the overview on AI Hub page, once AI is enabled, TestRail users get AI credits to track overall usage on this page. And at the start of each month, your instance is allocated a number of credits based on your plan and the number of seats. And each time you engage with AI, AI credits are consumed. I don't want to go too much into the mechanics today. You can find all the details in our documentation. But the key point is this: credits makes AI usage predictable, transparent, easy to monitor across your teams, and enables a fair usage to all our customers. You can also decide who gets access. It's not just all or nothing. You can enable it only for the specific user roles if you want. And this way you stay in control of who can generate the test cases with AI. And it doesn't stop there. You can enable AI at the project level too. Maybe one project is ready to adopt AI while another isn't. And that's perfectly fine. Like this level of granularity genuinely helps team to roll out AI at their own pace and where they actually can do it. One more important thing to mention as well is the mapping case fields. So out of the box, the case fields that are system ones comes pre-mapped with an AI responses for titles, for steps, for BDD scenarios, expected results, and steps separated. However, every team has different flows, different templates with custom fields. And for example, AI-generated description doesn't come mapped outside of the box because often it is a custom field, but it's very quick to map to AI responses. All you have to do is you have to go to the description, to your custom case field, and just enable the mapping with AI. And that's it. You're ready to go. Well, once you all set and accesses and mapping is done, you can go ahead and start generating test cases with AI. And it's important to note that first you need to choose your section where you want to save your test cases, and then choose the template type you want to use. As already mentioned, we support BDD, text, and steps. AI is magical, but it's not a mind reader. And so what you give to the AI matters a lot. The more relevant context you provide, the better the output will be. Think of AI as your new QA assistant. It's smart, but it doesn't have the full context of your feature or the systems under test. You have to guide it. Ask yourself, what information does my assistant need to know in order to generate relevant test cases with the best possible coverage? Do I need it to focus on negative scenarios or stick with the typical flow? Do I want it to cover the integrations? The clearer you ask, the better the output will be. Quality in, quality out. As you can see, my product requirement here is very detailed. And I cover different aspects of things, including visual and like user interactions with the feature. Because if you don't, LLM is probabilistic and it will go ahead and fill in the gaps. And this brings me to what I think is the most important part and my personal favorite step on the way. With TestRail, the tester always stays in control, because this next steps allows you to receive and correct, if needed, LLM suggested test coverage. It is very simple. It is designed in such a way that you can look at the suggested test coverage on the left and compare it with your requirements on the right-hand side. So you know whether there is any gaps or whether there is any assumptions that LLM has filled in based on the knowledge gaps that it has. And this is a huge differentiator. And for example, here, I noticed it's not a 10xp, it's a 20xp. And I go ahead and change it here. It is much faster and more productive to correct LLM in your title and description instead of on the whole set of generated ready test cases. And here I can choose which test cases I want to generate. I don't have to generate them all. Perhaps some of them are irrelevant to what I said to test, or maybe some I already have on my system. So this allows you very granular overview and select and pick what you want to generate with AI. And this is my favorite part because it's such a great productivity gain. Of course, if you are not happy completely and you missed a lot of things in your requirements, you can always click Edit Requirements and completely start the process again. But here I am generating test cases that I chose to generate and I find insightful for what I want to do. And now let's take a look if AI took into consideration my adjustments. And as you can see, it did. Instead of 10xp, it used 20xp. So this is how you make sure you stay in control and the AI is there to assist you. And this is it, really. This is the magic out of the box. So
You still have a couple more things you want to share?
yes, I do. And we know that this is our first iteration of this feature. And there are improvements we want to make to it. For example, deep Jira integration for smoother workflows. This is something that came up from our discovery sessions, and we know it will give a massive productivity gains for those who integrate with Jira. Upload files for more context. When it comes to generating test cases, we understand and respect the fact that people come from all kinds of different domains, and that sometimes sharing this domain-specific documentation can actually even enhance, in a better sense, the recommended and generated test cases by AI. The same as an XQA, I know exactly how long and how much time it takes to keep your existing test cases up to date. So this is also on our radar. And the test case fields values. I know that some of you are using specific custom case fields that you would like to set as part of generating your test cases. We really appreciate all the feedbacks that we have received. We've taken it on board, and this is something we would love to see improving going forward. And as to the improvements, Joao, if you can take to the next slide, please.
Absolutely.
We also want to talk about what the way it actually works, how seamlessly it works with our existing tool.
Yeah, I think maybe being a little bit selfish and kind of pause for a second, 'cause you went through a lot, and you just dumped a lot of information, and it was months and months worth of your effort and the team's effort. And it's just us here talking to each other, but we can't hear everyone else on their side of the screen. I wish you could see reactions, because I'm really curious how people are feeling about this intro. Uh, this feature, like I mentioned before, you don't have to worry about a lot more customization or changing the way you work. It's just going to work as is in TestRail. You don't have to change any processes, and you can use the TestRail default templates out of the box, like Katrina showed. And what stays the same, it's still your testing methodology and your workflows, your expertise, your approval flows, your team roles and responsibilities. You have that level of granularity to choose as you are interacting with this tool. So what changes though? So what gets better is that now you get faster test case creation, more time for the actual work, testing, more time for strategy, and stronger, more robust test coverage. So a lot to look forward to. And maybe we reveal even more and give even more to our audience today, and the folks listening after the webinar is done today. Let's reveal a little bit about what's coming for TestRail AI, not just the improvements you just mentioned to the current feature we're introducing today, but what else are we working on, Katrina?
Before we go that way, I want to say that one of the favorite parts for me, and what we have discovered internally with our QA team, is actually brainstorming also test coverage with LLM, because LLM is such a probabilistic creature with its own mind of its own. You can give it the same set of requirements and keep asking it, and every time it will generate to you something new. So
Mm-hmm.
personally, I found it very inspiring that when you are in this kind of tunnel vision and you already tested this feature so many times that you kind of get into this kind of bubble. And the AI is really great to burst this bubble and say, hey, have you thought of that scenario and this scenario? And so there is much more applications to these features and just generating. It's also being creative and thinking outside the box with your new assistant. So. Okay, let's move on to the TestRail AI roadmap. Exciting times ahead. As I mentioned, this is our first step. It's like I like to think of it as a Lego brick. When you build in a Lego, who loves Lego? I do. And you build in it brick by brick. This is our first brick, and we have many, many other bricks to then combine together to build this amazing AI-powered QA flows. And QA is changing the way we test, the way we write, and it frees up so much of our time now to actually go and catch and defects, think of the strategy, maybe collaborate more with your other teams. Cross-team collaboration is super important in QA workflows. But on our roadmap, we have, okay, and it will be also available for closed beta access. So if you fancy being in our closed beta access and help us to shape our AI features, you are welcome to apply. And then selected participants will get an early access from the designs up to help us to shape AI features and how they are developed and fit into your workflows. And the first on the list is automate manual test cases with AI. We are already started this PRT, and it's a really, really great project. I'm really privileged to be part of it and leading it as well. And the next one is AI-powered analytics. We know how reports and dashboards are important to our customers, especially when you have also automated workflows. You want to see how many defects was caught in which test case, which processes, was it manual, was it automated, what type of defects, how does it impact my overall quality of my software, where my investments are going well, and things like that. What is performing, what is underperforming. It kind of gives a good signals to QA managers to understand which processes need to be reviewed and improved, and maybe strategies and approaches as well. So we are working on it. We listen to your feedback and we want to make it better for you. And the same for AI-powered test prioritization. I know how much time it takes. I mean, if you have been testing a product for a very long time and you have been in a QA position with the same organization for many years, it comes natural to you to kind of know, okay, this feature is flaky, this part of the system always gives me regressions, and so on and so on. But if you're new in a team, or if you have a lot of new teams or new features, and sometimes, our even systems grow so bigger and the code gets more complex. Some places we have spaghetti code, some places we have a new code, and so on and so on. So AI-powered test prioritization will help to look in the past and help you to plan your future. So that's it. That's what we have on the roadmap that we can share with you.
Yeah, absolutely. We couldn't share everything, but we could share this bigger projects. And if I may, so as you hinted already, this closed beta access is something special, and I want to invite our customers to a very exclusive kind of closed door webinar that we're going to invite you all. And don't worry, you'll get an email asking you to join, or inviting you to join. And in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to host a closed session for customers only, that you'll get to see the very, very early stage of this feature, automate test cases with AI. We, like with the current feature that we're releasing today, we want to show you how we're building with our users, with our customers. We want to show you how TestRail is evolving in that sense. So we don't have the feature isn't yet for development, but we have written the PRD. We're ready to share a few ideas, and we want early feedback of, is this actually solving a real pain? Is this giving you value as early as possible so we can iterate at the beginning? So we'll invite you to participate. This should be a really good session. And me and Katrina will be there again. So same crowd. It's gonna feel like home. It's gonna be easy. We'll send out an email later on. But yeah, just to show, if you haven't, again, I invite you to go to our website, which has a little bit of a new face. The homepage has an updated lift and has a AI and innovation page as well, where we are doing the two things that we've just been talking about. One is that we're telling you what's coming up ahead, and we're also telling you what we've been doing. So we're telling you all of the features, all of the new upgrades that we've brought into TestRail. So you can hold us accountable, and we'll become more and more transparent with what we're building. Not just because we're inviting you to build it with us, but to everyone wants to see, they can see so on our webpage. All right, and I'm done here. Thanks for introducing the future roadmap for TestRail and AI features. Let me just go to the next slide. That gives you a quick next steps. So you can use TestRail AI today. So for existing customers, you can just log in on your cloud instance. So this is for cloud licenses only. As Katrina mentioned, the AI feature is disabled by default. So an administrator has to go in, accept the legal terms and configure permissions, and then enable as you see fit. Start with a pilot project, may or not be a working project, up to you. You decide. You're in control. Who gets access? What project gets access? For new customers that want to jump on a free 30-day trial, you also get AI enabled. Sorry, you also get the AI feature, but you have to also enable it in the AI hub. It's just that you as a trial user have the administrator rights. So enable the feature. No credit card required. You have self-guided onboarding. Everyone does. We have built, again, Katrina built a fantastic course with some of our colleagues to guide you step by step on how to use the tool and how to best practices to guide AI to work in your favor. And that's present in our TestRail Academy. We've had already some of our customers from the closed beta take out the course and saying really wonderful things about it. It's probably the best thing to get started on will be that documentation. And I think that takes us to the Q&A. So we have a couple of minutes. If not,
I see this. I see the
we'll
same pattern of the questions regarding LLMs. So just for everyone knowledge, we use a third-party hosted LLMs. We did not use any of the data to train them, and your data is not used for training an LLM. I just want to iterate on it once again. We are using system prompts to instruct LLM on how to respond and how to behave and how to structure the response, but we do not train it. I hope that answers majority of questions.
there was quite a few questions on that. There's quite a few questions asking about our data is proprietary. How is it being used? I think you knocked out at least 4 or 5 that I could tell. Thank you guys for the excellent presentation covering everything. I love the sneak peek at the end. Really great, achievement or accomplishment just releasing this first one. A lot of exciting stuff to come. Let's get to the questions. I've had so much fun going through these. We have 256 open, and that's with us, with like 4 people trying to stay on top of them. I think we could probably knock out at least 20 with one answer to how do these credits work. And I think George actually is going to be coming on to cover this one a little bit. How do AI credits work? What are the limits? Why do we choose to do that? What happens when you run out? How much do they cost? All of these questions. That's probably the most common one that we've seen in the chat. So George, do you want to come on here real quick and take that one for us? George Spradley, by the way, Group Product Manager for Sembi, overseeing all TestRail product management. So he's definitely a good person to speak to on this.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Right now? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my video started. For some reason, it's messing up right now. But I will try to answer the question as eloquently as you have been doing, Christian. So for what are AI credits? So AI credits are a measure on how many times you can actually use the AI feature. So for the open beta, and to guarantee that we have a reliable performance for everyone, and that we have data from pretty much all our cloud users on to help guide us on further improvements, we decided to add this concept of credits, which will in terms limit how you use them. And now you might be asking, yes, but how many credits do I get? Well, we decided to add credits to accounts based on the tier of TestRail. So if you're on professional or enterprise, you'll get different amounts of credits, and also on the amount of users that are in the instance. Once again, to give a fair usage across all our users. There is no way right now to add credits to an account. So at the start of the month, we will introduce credits to every account. So if you received 500 with a 9.5 release this month, next month on the 1st, you will receive another 500 credits again. And during an open beta, we will be figuring out how we're going to work with credits in the future. I think that covers everything, Christian. I don't know.
What happens? There was a couple questions about what happens. Well, first of all, I think it's worth saying credits are free right now. And maybe help people understand why we chose to do that. Hey, there's your video. Credits are free, and what happens when they are exhausted.
Yeah. So when good point. So credits for now are free, yes, and they do get added to your accounts at the start of every month. Once credits are exhausted, you will not be able to use the AI feature anymore. You will not be led to think that you can. Buttons will be disabled. There will be a message stating that the AI credits have finished. And we're just going to use that once again to look and assess how many credits each account should be getting per month and so on and so forth. So again, we're releasing this with free credits as an open beta because we want to put this out in the world. We want to let all of you try creating test cases using AI, and we'll figure things out during the open beta.
Awesome. And right, this is where we are today. It's going to change, right? I think that's the message. Like, as we learn more about how people are using it, we're going to be agile and flexible with this, and so please do expect more. If you have feedback for us, please share it, and we will definitely be taking that into account for the future. All right, there was a few questions about what types of, well, there was like, can this support multiple languages? Does it support PDFs? Can you select all the stages, or all the different types of testing all in one go? Like, there's a lot of more questions about specifically what can be ingested using the current capabilities, and if it doesn't do it today, will it do it in the future?
I don't mind taking this one as well. So for this first release, requirements will all be inputted as text-based. We are working on improvements to include multimodal, so people being able to actually upload documents or images, but that's still in the working. So that's where we're headed in the future. For now, requirements can go all the way from being things that are very granular, so it could be a single requirement, a single user story, and TestRail will help you generate test cases to cover that. And they could go all the way to large-scale requirements, so something as big as an entire PRD with multiple requirements in there, that will work as well.
And is there a user count limit on, I mean, a character count limit on how much can be put in there in the field to enter information?
Yes, there is a limit, and the limit is imposed. Well, I believe all third-party LLMs right now do have a limit. They call them input token limit. So we are bound by that limit as well, and you will be able to see it in the UI. But again,
Do you remember the number off the top of your head?
I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but again, I can say that you are able to add a full large-scale PRD into the requirements field. So I would be surprised if people are hitting that limit with our requirements, and if they are, again, that's why we're doing this open beta and giving these credits out for free. We want to understand if those limits are actually imposing any.
George, you're talking to testers. They're going to try to break it now that you said that. So just be cautious. Multiple language. Did you already cover that? I'm sorry, I might have missed it.
No, I didn't. Not doing too well with multi-phased questions. So language. What's going on? So as you know, TestRail, not too long ago, we released localization where we now also support the TestRail instance to work in German, Spanish, and French. And for the AI feature, not only will you see all those beautiful screens that Katrina has shown in those languages, but the outputted test cases can also be in those languages and even more. We don't really have a limit to languages when it comes to the outputted test case, but it always depends on the input. So if I am to add requirements in Spanish to the test case generation with AI modal, I will get test cases back in Spanish. If I choose to do that in Mandarin, that will help. That will happen as well, and so on and so forth. So whatever you input, the output comes back in the same language.
Awesome. There's a few other kind of like specific questions about what can be put in there. Figma, PNG, PDFs, all of that is going to be planned for, evaluation for in the future. I just want to kind of capture that with a blanket statement. Anything other than we would describe today is future evaluation. All right, let's dive in. There's some more questions. Probably one that we should have answered at the top. When is this available? There was quite a few questions about that. If you don't yet see it in your instance, in your cloud instance, it's because it hasn't quite gotten you. You will see it really in the next 4 hours, but most likely in the next 24 hours. We are actively rolling this out in our kind of typical phased release plan. So that's the exciting news. If you don't see it then, you might need to talk to an administrator to get that enabled at the account level, and then you guys will, at the user level, be able to do it. There were some questions about how that enabling works, if it can be provisioned for certain teams or certain groups instead of account-wide. Can we talk a little bit about that, Katrina?
Yes, so as I demonstrated on the demo, once it is enabled on the instance level, you can go ahead and choose which user roles you want to have access to AI feature. And the same on a project level. So you can choose which project you want to have an access to AI features. Even if the user roles that you have enabled access to AI are part of the project that have AI disabled, they will not be able to use this feature. So it's a very multi-granular approach to that. And a lot of the companies give us a good feedback, particularly those who are working with a very regulated industries. They really like the fact that some projects that might not have, such a kind of access to very intellectual property or very sensitive data, that they can enable on those specific projects access to AI.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm still going through questions. If anyone sees any other ones that they want to pull up, go ahead and take those.
I will take one, Christian. So I see we've got a flurry of questions as well. Like, are we getting this for server? When is server getting this feature? I guess we can clear that up as well. So for now, AI test case generation is only available for cloud customers. We do plan to extend TestRail's AI capabilities for server in the future, but given all the technical work is involved, this is coming at a later stage in our roadmap. So we're working on scoping it. We're going to get AI features to use server customers as well. But for now, with TestRail 9.5, we're only releasing test case generation for cloud.
Excellent.
Thank you, George. I can pick up the question, which I can see coming up a lot as well, about whether AI retain knowledge from the previous prompts and actually learn. The answer is no. We wanted to focus on a compliance light version for this first iteration of this feature. Therefore, requirements that you share are only used in processing the request. It's just transit and at rest data, which is fully encrypted. It is not used for training, and it is not retained as a memory and a context for the LLM. But of course, as we are looking ahead and how AI evolves, how fast it evolves, and how important context and memory is, it is something that is on our future roadmap, but it's not in this iteration.
If I may add something to that, Katrina. So for this feature, we did a bunch of customer interviews, we did design prototyping and so on. And one thing that became evident from very early on was there was a lot of customers, and I mean, the bigger the companies, the more strict they would be on their compliance, which would say, well, if there's any training, if you're saving any of our data, or if someone else's, we won't be able to use it. And we thought, we want to make this feature available to the widest audience possible. And that's why exactly we decided, let's go with something that does not store or train on data, that lets all, or is going to hopefully help all our customers use. And then further down, we can narrow the use case for those power users or just companies that do have the ability to do that. So that's the reasoning behind that decision.
Thank you, George.
Yeah, there was also some questions. I saw a couple questions about if understanding it doesn't use the data, but does it understand the context of the way the account is set up? There's some questions about can it reference the custom fields that are already existing in the account? How does it recognize that, if at all?
So we do not take the data you don't share with an LLM. The only data LLM has access to is the requirements you share with it. That's it. And it's again for exactly the same reasons George has mentioned. We wanted this feature to have a high adoption rate so that people can still gain the productivity with this feature without compromising, for example, compliance and data security topics. As we move forward, as George mentioned, it is something that we are considering doing. But again, even when we will decide to do so, I believe that customers or users should have the decision on what data they want to share with AI. So again, it will be access only to what you will allow it to have access to.
Excellent.
Quick note, because I did see a few questions or comments in regards to this response on training and so on. So yes, we said that in the future, we are looking eventually to ways to train or just further improve the quality. But one important note is we will never go back and suddenly, for those who chose not to have the data trained, and just train on your data without any information. So I saw some people commenting, well, if you say you're going to train some point in the future, we just can't enable this today at all. Those are two separate topics. Right now, we're releasing this. If we ever were to train on something, we would obviously let our customer base know. So please don't be scared of using this feature right now. It's out there. If you haven't got it, you'll get it in the next few hours. And again, data is not stored, neither will it be used for training.
Yep, there was also quite a few questions about just how to do this. I'm going to go ahead and link the Getting Started guide in the chat so everyone is able to access that. I should knock out quite a few. If you don't see it currently, you just need to follow those steps and opt in. Like I said, we are using this to evaluate how this works for everyone. So feedback is really appreciated in helping us make this even better in the future. Any other questions that kind of pop up? We have 3 minutes. Obviously, we did get started a little late. You guys have no idea how hectic it was for the first 5 minutes of this while we were trying to get Zoom to work correctly for us. So I appreciate everyone's patience. But 3 minutes left. Is there any other burning questions that we think we can knock out in that time? I am being reminded that we have a full TestRail Academy course on this. For those who do not use TestRail Academy, I highly encourage you to go there. It's free, log in, you can get trained up on how to use it most effectively. Katrina took a heavy part in creating that as well. So it'll be an amazing training session for those who want to get the teams caught up to speed on how this works. And we'll continue to add that in the future.
And I also added the link in the chat to the guide on how to get the best results with AI on TestRail. It shares a lot of interesting techniques that you can use in prompting and how to get the best result with the test coverage with our feature. Hopefully it will be very helpful as well.
Yep. We also did reach our usage limit of Zoom today. We hit 1,000 registrants, which is a record as far as I'm aware. The recording of this for everyone who wasn't able to make the live webinar session will be sent out to everyone who registered. Joao, Katrina, you want to take us home?
Yeah, I think the next steps would be for Joao to talk through.
Yeah, just to finish up, we have 1 or 2 minutes. You'll get an email with all of the resources you need to get started. So don't worry. TestRail Academy course that Christian just mentioned, posted on the chat, will be available. So that's my recommendation. Log in or sign up, try the feature, use the resources available to you. And then for customers, I want to invite you to the Automate Test Cases with AI, which happens on September 30th. We'll send you out a specific notification for that. And wrapping up here, basically, you have all of this. We're very purposeful with these resources, just to try to cover as many questions as possible. If not, like I said in the beginning, we'll compile everything. We'll build a really robust FAQ section on the feature documentation, and we'll share with everyone in the next coming days, all for you to start, enjoy, test, and bring us a lot of feedback on this feature. Yeah, we're in open beta, ready and eager to learn and get feedback from you. Thank you so much for you guys to moderate. Thank you everyone who's attended today. Have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you, Joao and Katrina. Appreciate it.